Taoiseach, people are reeling since events that took place in Dublin last Thursday. In broad daylight, small children and their carer attacked, stabbed outside Gaelscoil Colóis the Wirra and Parnell Square. One 5-year-old child remains in hospital fighting for her life, and we pray that she and all those injured will make a full recovery. We stand with this amazing school community who, under a heavy cloud of shock and trauma, did incredible work in getting children back to school on Monday. Taoiseach, how have things gotten so bad that young children are in danger outside their school in the middle of the day? I understand the alleged perpetrator is in custody, and in time we will learn the story behind all of this. But the reality is that Dublin city centre hasn't been safe for some time. Antisocial behaviour, open drug dealing and drug taking, street drinking, gangs hanging around causing trouble. And this shouldn't be news to you, Taoiseach. What happened in the aftermath of the horrific knife attack was deplorable, shameful and criminal. The burnt-out cars and buses, smashed-up shop fronts and the experiences of intimidation bear testimony to the destruction inflicted on Dublin by a mob of thugs. Public safety collapsed, people endangered, Gardaí isolated and assaulted. The idea that this violence couldn't be predicted is a nonsense. This situation has been building for months. And by 2:30 on Thursday afternoon, it was obvious that there was a threat to public safety. So where was the Garda Commissioner? Where was the Minister for Justice? A strong policing response was needed, leadership was needed, but instead brave Gardaí were left high and dry. I have full confidence in Garda Síochána. I have zero confidence in the Garda Commissioner and the Minister for Justice. The cold truth is that Commissioner Harris and Minister McEntee lost control of Dublin city centre. And for years, communities and businesses have been telling you that we don't have enough Gardaí on the streets, on the beat, on bikes and in communities. When those poor children were being attacked, I was meeting with the major employer in Dublin City, whose primary issue is concern for the safety of staff at work and coming and going to work. So you're not listening, Taoiseach. Government's depletion of Garda Síochána has left people feeling unsafe and endangered in this city and beyond. Tep hobóisteach na bólíneacht a bhíonn seo, ní féidir leis an Ara McEntee fannacht sa fust, caithfidh tú a winch mar arid lí agus cirt. Because ultimately responsibility lies with Minister McEntee. In July, following several assaults and incidents in Dublin, the United States government issued warnings to Americans travelling to Dublin. Minister McEntee at that point declared that the streets of the city were safe. Today, the Canadian, Australian and British governments have issued warnings to their citizens travelling to Dublin. And yet, Minister McEntee refuses to accept that control of Dublin city centre was lost. It seems the Minister has moved from denial to full-blown delusion. And she is clearly not the person to provide the leadership needed to restore public confidence in policing. Her position is now untenable, Taoiseach. You must do what is necessary now, having failed the people so badly, and remove Helen McEntee as Minister for Justice.
Taoiseach, please.
Thanks very much, Deputy. Last Thursday we experienced two appalling acts of violence in our streets. The stabbing of several children and their carer. Two remain in hospital as we speak, stable but critical, and we pray for their recovery. And then an ugly far-right protest on our streets, which led to a riot and looting and serious criminal damage. These events were shocking, they were unacceptable, it was an attack on the rule of law, and there is and will be a robust response from the Gardaí and from the government. We need to make sure that Thursday's events were exceptional events and do not happen again. And I want people to be safe and to feel safe on our streets. And as part of that approach, the Commissioner has confirmed that there will be 2 Garda public order units deployed in Dublin city centre between now and at least Christmas, made up of 2 inspectors, 6 Garda sergeants and 42 Gardaí. So a very visible Garda presence on our streets in the coming weeks. And above all, I believe we need to do 3 things. 1, more Gardaí, 2, better equipment for our Gardaí, and 3rd, stronger laws and more prison places. All those things are already very much underway and were underway before the events of last Thursday, but they need to be accelerated. So in relation to the Gardaí, we now have 14,000 Gardaí. About 700 to 800 will go through training this year, about 800 to 1,000 next year, and we expect Garda numbers to rise to 14,500 by the end of next year. In addition to that, of course, there are Garda staff, over 3,000 now, that free up Gardaí for frontline work. We have over 3,000 Garda vehicles, 150 more are on order. We have riot gear for 2,500 Gardaí. We have water cannon on loan, body cameras will soon be on the way. And we also need to strengthen our laws. Minister McEntee has already brought in tougher sentences for people who commit serious crimes and attack our Gardaí. She has plans for an additional 600 prison spaces to make sure that those who serve are given convictions and given long prison sentences serve them. We also need new laws around the use of FRT and also object recognition technology. Dedicated legislation on that is on the way. We'll bring in a police powers bill that gives the police some of the additional powers that they would have asked for when I visited them in Store Street last week. And also, before the recess, we'll have the Public Safety, Policing and Community Safety Bill enacted. So the response is immediate, it is medium term, it is long term, and Deputy, it's going to be and is very robust. Deputy, in relation to what you said about other countries issuing warnings to tourists and citizens who visit here, that is true, but bear in mind they issue the same warnings about many large cities around the world, including their own capital cities, in fact, and their own large cities. And I think it's important that when you talk about our city, the one we both live in, that you put it into that context. And I know you don't want to be talking down our city in any way. In relation to the matter of confidence, Deputy, I have full confidence in the Gardaí, full confidence in Garda management, including Commissioner Harris, and I have full confidence in Minister McEntee. She's a minister who's been leading and extremely active on the issues of law and order and criminal justice during her term in office. Look in particular at the success that we've had in dealing with organised crime, where we would have seen in previous years dozens of murders every year, a lot of success and results in that area down to her work and that of Garda Síochána. In addition to that, look at how she's led on the issue of gender-based violence. We face an epidemic of violence against women in this country, and no minister has done more about it than her. Look at what's been done in Drogheda, for example, as Deputy O'Dowd spoke about this morning. These are the results that she's been involved in making happen, and our work continues.
Thank you, Deputy McDonald.
And therein lies the problem, Taoiseach. You are not listening, Taoiseach. You're not listening to communities. You're not listening to parents. You're not listening to business and retails. The failures on Thursday in Dublin were political failures. After 12 years of Fine Gael in government, we don't have enough Gardaí to keep people safe. And this isn't just a problem in Dublin, it's much broader than that in cities and towns across Ireland. Hundreds of stations closed, a depleted force, a serious recruitment and retention crisis, people feeling unsafe in their homes, on their streets and in their communities. People could see what happened in Dublin on Thursday coming. So, Taoiseach, you need to start listening. And the truth is that confidence in policing and public safety is at rock bottom. And you need to now do something about that. And I am telling you straight, and I'm telling you clear, we need a fresh start. And Minister McEntee is not the minister, is not the person to give the leadership that is required at this critical time. So, Taoiseach, rather than yourself engaging in delusion and distraction, I ask you to face the cold truth and the severity and seriousness of what happened in the heart of our capital city and move to bring accountability to the situation.